the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever, into the ages of ages. Amen. Not too long ago, I want to say maybe last year, maybe the year before that, I was watching a documentary on the concept of funeral services in America. Not the actual liturgical service, rather companies that offer wake and funeral services. And the focus of the documentary was on how the average funeral in this country costs somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000, depending on where you are. And they did a comparative study to different countries and things like that. And it was always fascinating because I saw cultural differences in funerals. What they do, how they have their funeral, who's attending and things like that. And we, ourselves being from India, we know that some differences as well. In India, our funerals are very different than what we have here. In India, you literally have, if you're the older generation, you would remember just a wooden box. Literally a wooden box. There would be no markings. Sometimes it would be a nicer box, but it's just a plain box made out of wood. In the recent past, they started putting, elaborate crosses, and sometimes they'll put Bible verse or whatnot on the side of the casket. You come to America, and it's completely different. The caskets are very elaborate, they're very ornate, they're huge. They're huge. And there's a clear difference between how we see it in India and how we see it here. And no matter how many funerals you've seen, that you've experienced or you've been to, one thing still remains the same. All that goes in there is the body. All that goes in there that is of relevance to us is the body. It's just a space to put that body in respect. And no matter how big or small that casket is, we are not able to take anything with us in that space. It's just a resting place for the body. And we have to think about this, because many of us, we have a mentality nowadays that the more we accumulate, the more we'll be able to take with us after we die. That our wealth and our possessions and whatever we have, it's going to go beyond this world. Well, the reality is, it's not. I believe Steve Jobs was the Apple CEO for a while. One of the richest people in the world. When he died, he didn't take any funds with him. He took with him the same thing that the most poor person in the world took with them. Nothing. Because for us, death is a passage. It's a passage from this physical world, from this body, to the next. So no matter what you have gathered, no matter what you have in your bank accounts, or how much property you have, or whatever you have of value, you will not be able to take that with you. However, what will go with you are your actions. What you will take with you is what you have done in your life. Not your possessions, rather your actions. And you will be held accountable for those actions. And the reason I bring this up to you today is that in the gospel that we read today, which is the gospel according to St. Mark chapter 10, Christ says, "Even I came here to serve and not to be served." I came here to serve others and not to be served by others. And his life, Christ's life, is full of service. When he died, he had no possessions, but he took with him all the service that he had given to this world. When many of the disciples and the apostles, when they died, they didn't have possessions. They died in some of the most horrific ways possible. But they took with them all the actions, all the help, all the generosity, all the preaching that they have done in this world. And in the same way, when we die, we take with us our actions, and more importantly, our service. Have we served others? Or have we waited for others to serve us? My dear brothers and sisters, our parents came into this country hoping for a better life, for better opportunities. And they came, and for many of us, it prospered. We live in a world in which we could not have imagined, especially for the parents, 30, 40 years ago. The struggle to come here and to gain something and to establish themselves in this country. And the youth, us, we are the result of that hard work. For them, their service was towards us. But it is our responsibility now for the youth, for the younger ones, to serve others. Just like your parents served you, you must also serve others. I bring this up because I actually read a different passage for the gospel reading today. Because if you look at the lectionary, it can also be read the second Sunday after Transfiguration. And it's kind of funny because they both point to the same concept of service. And so service is something that's very important to us, especially this community today, because of what is going on back in our homeland. You know what is happening in Kerala, and you know what the people are suffering through. My question for us is, are we serving them in any manner? It's easy for us to watch television and say, oh my goodness, I know that area, I know the people there, cannot imagine what they're going through. But are we doing anything for that community? Are we serving them in any way? Not just with prayer, but with some sort of action. I didn't realize how bad the situation is until I turned the radio on this morning, and it's on the local news. Kerala is mentioned by name on the local news. And the BBC this morning. Over 300 people have died. Many houses have been completely destroyed. On a personal, very personal level, one of my great aunts passed away last week. Her funeral was supposed to be on Friday, but because of the flooding, because of what's going on, we don't know when we are going to be able to bury her. And that's just one person. Countless people are being impacted by the flooding that's happening in India. My dear brothers and sisters, I urge you, like Christ said, serve in whatever capacity you can, as people from that place, as people who are able to give, as people who perhaps grew up in that place. Serve. If you can, give money. If you can, there are organizations now that are collecting food. It's really, Chamachan will say and Achin will say, there are some times when you read the gospel and you have no clue what it's pointing to, and then there are other times like this in which it's so relevant to what's happening around you. It's so relevant. So when you leave this church today, when you leave this sanctuary, think about how you can serve the people in India. About how you can serve your own community that you came from. And know that no matter what you have collected with you right now in this world, you cannot take with you. At least you can use that so that others' life may be improved. All glory and honor to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever into the age of ages. Amen.